It was the summer of 1971. Across America, the air felt heavy, with war, uncertainty, and a quiet longing no one could name. On a fading stretch of highway, a late-night radio hummed through the static, carrying a voice both tender and restless. John Denver stood on the edge of a new decade, loved by many, yet still searching for a place that truly felt like home. And then came a paradox no one expected, a song about West Virginia, written by a man who had never lived there. A melody shaped not by geography, but by memory, yearning, and the fragile hope of belonging. Some would say it was too simple, too soft, too sentimental. But what if the song America feared was too gentle, was the one it needed the most? Long before the world sang it back to him, Take Me Home, Country Roads began in a small, quiet room where the night felt heavier than usual. John Denver sat by a narrow window, his guitar resting against his chest, the glow of a single lamp softening the sharp edges of the day. Outside, the city murmured, but inside there was only the stillness of a man searching for something he couldn't quite name. The melody didn't arrive with fireworks. It drifted in slowly, like a memory he never lived but somehow felt. Two of his songwriter friends, Bill Danoff and Taffy Nevert, shared fragments of a tune they'd written on long drives through rural towns. Denver listened, and something stirred deep inside him. The ache of a home he'd never known, the tenderness of belonging he'd always chased. Cigarette smoke curled through the room as the three of them worked through the night, shaping every line with care. Denver kept pausing, eyes lowered, as if the lyrics were revealing pieces of his own heart, pieces he wasn't sure he was ready to share. He wasn't writing a hit, one of them would later say. He was writing a place for his soul to rest. The chords grew warmer, the words grew truer, the feeling grew louder than the room itself. It wasn't about West Virginia anymore. It was about the universal pull of home, however imagined, however far away. And in that fragile stillness, the song took its first full breath, gentle, aching, unmistakably alive. Genius didn't sound like glory. It sounded like pain learning to sing. When the song was finally shaped, warm, steady, and impossibly sincere, John Denver believed it held something rare. But the industry did not agree. Before the track ever reached a studio microphone, it first faced a long corridor of rejection. Executives flipped through lyric sheets with indifferent eyes. Too slow, one muttered. Too simple, another sighed. A third didn't bother to finish the demo before declaring, America isn't looking for nostalgia, it wants noise. Denver sat across from them, shoulders steady, voice quiet. He didn't argue. He didn't defend. But something in him tightened, an ache familiar to every artist who has ever trusted their heart more than the world's approval. Bill Danoff and Taffy Nevert stood by him, refusing to reshape the song into something trendier or safer. They believed truth didn't need volume, it just needed air. And in rooms full of executives, he never felt more alone. Nights followed with doubt pressing against his ribs. Was the song too soft for its time? Too honest? Or was the world simply afraid of feeling something gentle again? Yet each time he picked up his guitar, the melody returned like a quiet insistence, a reminder, a promise. He kept playing it, not to convince anyone, but to keep himself from forgetting why it mattered. The rebellion wasn't loud. There were no slammed doors, no angry headlines, no dramatic walkouts, just a young man with a tender voice, refusing to shrink his truth to fit someone else's idea of marketable. In the end, what carried him wasn't confidence, it was conviction. Because real rebellion isn't noise, it's truth, refusing to shrink. The night everything changed didn't look special at all. A small-town radio station, a tired DJ flipping through new records, and a quiet moment before midnight. But when the needle touched the vinyl and John Denver's voice rose through the static, something unusual happened. The phone lines lit up. At first, just one call. "Play that again," a man said softly, then another and another. Within minutes, the station was overwhelmed. Truckers on the highway, night shift workers on break, lonely souls driving back roads they knew by heart. All of them asking for the same thing, that song, the one about home. The DJ replayed it, then replayed it again. Across America, something stirred. People who had never seen West Virginia felt the pull of its mountains. People who had no place to return to suddenly found one through melody alone. And for the first time, the industry that dismissed the song watched in disbelief as the country embraced it without permission. Concerts grew. Crowds began singing louder than Denver himself, their voices rising like a single aching choir. The song didn't spread because of marketing. It spread because people felt understood, perhaps for the first time in a long time. Newspapers called it unexpected. Executives called it lucky. But anyone who listened knew better. It wasn't luck. It was truth. Truth wrapped in a melody simple enough for every heart to carry, and strong enough to hold a nation longing for connection. Radio after radio, town after town, the song travelled farther than John Denver ever imagined, filling kitchens, highways, bars, and quiet living rooms with the same soft promise. You are not alone. You belong somewhere. Truth always finds its way, even when the world refuses to listen. Years passed, and the world began to change faster than anyone expected. Highways stretched wider, cities grew louder, and the soft places people once trusted started slipping away. Yet through every shift in culture, every new trend, every reinvention of American sound, one melody refused to fade. Take Me Home. Country Roads did not stay in 1971. It kept returning, quietly, faithfully, whenever the world felt too heavy. Long after John Denver left this earth, the song found new life. It surfaced in films where characters searched for meaning. It appeared in stadiums where thousands of voices blended into one. It re-emerged in viral clips of young singers who hadn't even been born when Denver last performed it. Somehow, the song became a bridge between generations, an emotional shorthand for longing, tenderness, and the comfort of home. And that was the paradox. The world grew faster, harsher, and noisier, but the song that survived was the one gentle enough to slow people down. Families began singing it at reunions. Soldiers listened to it overseas. Travelers played it on late-night drives across empty interstates. Even those who had no connection to West Virginia found a sense of belonging in its steady rhythm. Because the song was never truly about a place, it was about the feeling of being held by memory, by hope, by something larger than yourself. Its legacy is not measured in charts or awards. It is measured in the way people close their eyes when they hear it, as if, for a moment, the world becomes simple again. Beauty never asks for time, it simply keeps breathing. Before this story ends, pause for a moment, not to analyze the song, not to decode the lyrics, but to remember. Do you remember the first time Take Me Home, Country Roads found you? Were you driving through a quiet stretch of highway, headlights carving a path through the dark? Were you in a kitchen filled with the smell of dinner, a radio humming softly in the background? Or were you younger, much younger, with a heart that didn't yet know how much it would long for home? For millions, this song wasn't just music, it was a companion, a mirror, a soft place to land when the world felt too sharp. And maybe that's why it still matters even now, because we all carry roads inside us. Some lead back to childhood, some lead to people we loved, some to moments we wish we could hold just a little longer. Music like this reminds us that we're not wandering alone. Somewhere out there, someone else feels the same ache, the same pull, the same quiet hope. So if this story touched a memory you haven't visited in a while, stay with us. There are more roads to walk, more voices to rediscover, more songs that once held America together, one fragile note at a time. Because legends never fade, they just wait to be remembered.